The Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I am Kyle McEwen. You can find me on Twitter at RotoKyleNBA. And over here we have...
Hey, this is Mark Roberts. You can find me on Twitter at Mark F. Roberts. Mark is spelled with a C, just like Marc Gasol.
You can find our work on dailyfantasybasketballpodcast.com, or you can go on iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review there and any other apps. That's if you subscribe, rate, or review to the podcast, I will come to your house and cook a 4-course meal of your choosing. You get to choose like what place of the world it comes from. We'll do some kind of thematic thing where it's like, you know, something nice. You think that would be good, Mark?
Yeah, I'm going to go rate and review the podcast right now, actually.
Wow. All right. So put me down for
Unless
one.
I have to buy the groceries.
Meal.
As long as you're buying the groceries. Okay.
Groceries included.
Perfect.
Absolutely. All right. So it is Wednesday night. We're looking at all the games that have finished up here. A 14-game slate. So we're going to kind of go rapid fire through them to just touch on all the hot points and maybe point out where some of the guys had amazing season debuts. So let's kick right off with the Wizards versus Magic. This is a game that ended with John Wall hitting the game-winning shot over Nikola Vucevic. Not the most exciting game-winning shot in the world because there's still about 12 seconds left on the clock, but nonetheless, John Wall was balling on Wednesday. Ended up putting up 22 points. I mean, Sorry, I kind of left that hanging. That was a bad transition. But he put up 22 points, 5 blocks. He did have 6 turnovers, but 3 steals, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 3-pointers. You know, when I'm looking at a lot of these lines on Wednesday night, it's the first game for so many teams, and I just feel like I kept telling myself, take it with a grain of salt, take it with a grain of salt. So we're going to try and identify the things that look good and look reasonable. But any line that you see, for the most part, it may be indicative of what they do, but it's not going to be representative of what these people average on a every single night over the course of the season. I guess
more than anything, what we're looking for is roles, right? Like a defined role. For example, in that same game, Otto Porter, which we didn't know exactly what to expect from him, got 37 minutes. That's a big deal. Like if he's going to play, I still don't expect he's going to play 37 minutes a night, but if this means he's going to have a 33-minute a night role carved out, that's much different than the 28-minute a night role or 29-minute a night role that we projected for him. And, you know, if it's more than that, if it's 34 or 35 or 36 or something, that could mean big things. Even though he didn't have a huge night tonight, he only scored 7 points. Still, if he's out there on your waiver wire, I think he's a strong candidate to be picked up just because of the minutes he played tonight.
And the complementary stats definitely give you a feeling of, oh, he's going to do multiple things. Porter, in addition to his 7 points, put up 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 3-pointer, was 3 of 10 from the field, didn't get to the line. That's a good all-around line, but more important than anything, like Mark's pointing out, it's that 37 minutes that Porter played. And Randy Whitman, Coach Randy Whitman of the Washington Wizards, he really played his starters huge minutes. Marcin Gortat got 36 minutes. Chris Humphries played 26 minutes as a starting power forward. And those are all interesting guys, whether you're talking about from a daily games perspective. Definitely you like the upside that you have in a guy like Gortat if he's going to be playing closer to 34, 36 minutes a game. And he ended up putting up 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks in the game, only took 6 shots. So really there's some upside there for Gortat if he's going to play that many minutes because he should take more shots.
This could be a situation where they're just all fresh though too. You know what I mean? Like, all of his players are fresh, so he doesn't feel bad playing them big minutes, and then we'll see the minutes drop down in the next week or so.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, but you know, it seems like with the team going to going to the rotation where they're bringing Nene off the bench almost exclusively at center, it's kind of like, you know, you're not as worried about getting Nene minutes now because he's kind of in his backup role. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, let's talk about the Orlando now. The thing, sorry, we just have we got to get through 28 teams or whatever tonight, which is awesome. 26.
It's 28. It's a lot of them.
Oh man, that's a fun night. A lot of good basketball tonight. So the thing that stood out to me for Orlando, again, I'm looking at roles here. I was surprised at how many minutes Hazonia played, and actually, the thing that was most surprising to me is he played down the stretch. He played it in the crunch time. And he actually took 2 or 3 of the biggest shots in the last minute. And I even think like the last play before Vucevic's missed fadeaway shot at the buzzer, I think they were trying to get the ball to Hazonia again. So that just tells me if he's playing in the crunch time and they're like running plays for him, I think there's a chance that his minutes can creep up even higher than the 25 he saw tonight. And I was actually surprised he got 25 tonight. So again, even though the line doesn't look awesome, it's pretty good.
Yeah, he put up 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and he had 3 3-pointers. His first made shot in the NBA was a 3-point shot. Now, the Magic, they started Evan Fournier at small forward. He played 27 minutes, and then that means that Aaron Gordon came off the bench. We actually saw before the game, Scott Skiles came out and said that he was strongly considering starting Hazonia at small forward.
Which is what I'm saying. You know, they finished with him. Skyle said that. Like, I think Hazonia is going to be getting bigger minutes than we ever anticipated pretty quickly.
But if he struggles on defense, if he struggles with his shot, I feel like those minutes could dry up quick. I mean, there's upside there.
Skyle's there. No, sure, certainly it's not a sure thing. But
are you rushing out? Are you rushing out to pick him up anywhere?
I did pick him up. Mostly because I was looking for somebody to drop Trey Burke for as fast as I could.
Fair enough. And I think is that like our drop of the night?
Oh man, we'll get to him shortly, but I just didn't want him like impacting the rest of my fantasy team.
Aaron Gordon looked
stinking it up so bad.
Oh yeah. Aaron Gordon looked really good. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 2 putback jams that were awesome. CJ Watson got 21 minutes. Honestly, that's where I think some of the other guys could get more consistent run like Hazonia is why the hell is Orlando playing CJ Watson at all when they have so many ball handlers in Peyton, Fournier, and Oladipo who can all play the point guard position? It frustrates me. But all right, let's move on to the Philadelphia and Boston Celtics game. Saw Nerlens Noel have a great game. Jahlil Okafor played 38 minutes in his debut.
And had a great game. He scored 26 points on 10 of 16 from the field. He made all 6 of his free throws, which was a big surprise to me. And he got 2 blocks. If this guy's going to hit free throws, and I mean, the points are somewhat, and the rebounds are somewhat expected. The free throw shooting and the blocks are not expected, at least for me. So if he's going to do that, he did have 8 turnovers, but man, if he's going to hit free throws and block shots, he's a totally different fantasy player than we expected.
He got all of those stats, and he had 8 turnovers, which means that's 8 possessions that he didn't even get the shot up. So there's lots to like there about Jahlil Okafor. If you got him in the later rounds of your drafts, congratulations, especially in head-to-head. If you're playing in a 9-cat roto league, those 8 turnovers are terrifying. But then again, turnovers are hard to compete in. Isaiah Cannon played 38 minutes. Are you adding him anywhere? He ended up finishing with 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 4 3-pointers.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on Cannon. I actually added him before this game, and so this certainly didn't dissuade me from being happy with that. I would say not in 10-team leagues, but in 12-team leagues, particularly if I need a 3-point shooting. I don't think he's going to get you as many assists as you would like out of your point guard, but I think he can do enough in the other, enough scoring, enough steals, enough 3-pointers that he's pretty valuable.
Nick Stauskas did not play in this game. He actually set out with back spasms. He had been dealing with a stress reaction in his leg, and everything was looking good. Like, yeah, I feel 100%. I'm going to come back tonight. I'm going to play. And then he had some kind of back spasms before the game and did not play. So frustrating little situation there. I still think that Isaiah Cannon is your short-term option. Hopefully he can have sustained value and maintain that role at the point guard slot. But TJ McConnell got 28 minutes off the bench. They seem to like what they're getting out of him. And then you still got Kendall Marshall and Tony Roten coming back at some time. Jakar Sampson and Hollis Thompson started in on the wing with Nick Stauskas out, with Robert Covington out for I think Covington, didn't we end up hearing like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Hollis Thompson took 15 shots, hit 3 from 9 from 3-point. Overall, he was just 3 of 15 from the field. Do you like Hollis Thompson as a short-term ad, at least in some of your deeper leagues?
I would have to be a pretty deep league before I consider Hollis Thompson, even if he's getting 36 minutes a game.
And that's kind of that's all I wanted to hear, really. Hollis Thompson's going to be, he's pretty much 3-pointers and that's about it. That's what he usually gives you on a typical night. You do like that he took 15 shots, but that's unlikely to be sustainable. From the Boston side of things, Jared Sullinger had a surprise game off the bench, ended up starting the second half as well because Tyler Zeller was having a really hard time matching up with Jahlil Okafor. What else did you notice from the Celtics that we should take into account?
I mean, the front court, right? Like we talked about this all last year. I don't know why we kind of forgot about it. You almost just don't want any part of their front court because you don't know. We had no idea Sullinger was even going to get off the bench, and he nearly led the front court players in minutes. Amir Johnson gets 20, David Lee gets 22.
There is the one
21.
caveat, though, that Kelly Olynyk was not playing in this game due to suspension. So,
Right.
so that opened up the minutes for Sullinger to even be in the rotation.
Yeah, but I just feel like, okay, so Olynyk's not there and nobody played more than 22 minutes. So Olynyk's going to come back and
In the front court. We did have a
Yeah.
couple of the guys in the back court and on the wing get over 30.
No, I'm focusing exclusively on of the big guys there. And I guess, some people were excited about Lee, some people like Johnson, and he did pretty well in the 20 minutes, but I just don't think anybody's going to get enough consistent minutes in that front court that I want to own them in the standard league.
I agree. Isaiah Thomas was lights out. Amazing off the bench, though. 27 points in 29 minutes, 7 assists, 3 steals, one of 6 from three-point land, took 19 shots, was 6 of 7 from the free throw line. Marcus Smart, as the starting point guard, played 32 minutes, put up 13 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, and 3 3-pointers. So, hey, you're getting steals and 3-pointers out of Marcus Smart. That's what we said you'd get. So,
yeah, those are the 2 guys I probably want to own on the Celtics. And beyond that, I think you're just asking to be frustrated if you own any other Celtics than that, because there's just gonna be nights that Brad Stevens doesn't play them. I think I saw a quote by Brad Stevens that said he doesn't want to have a consistent rotation because then he feels like a consistent rotation is scoutable, which I guess is true. But man, that's going to be rough in fantasy.
That's so frustrating because Jay Crowder, man, he's really grown on me over the last year, and I would love to see him get enough shots every game to really and enough minutes. He needs to play about 30 minutes to be relevant.
Yeah, and he actually had a nice game tonight, so he's another guy potentially you could own. I actually liked Evan Turner a little bit last season, but it doesn't look like he's going to get enough minutes to do much.
Yeah, it looks like he's stuck coming off the bench. And if Isaiah Thomas, like you pointed out in last night's show, if Thomas is coming off the bench with him, it's going to be hard to get enough possessions there. All right, let's move to the Chicago Bulls versus the Brooklyn Nets game. The Bulls won this 115-100. Nikola Mirotic had a second straight good game, 9 rebounds again, 18 points, 2 steals, 1 block, 1 assist, 4 3-pointers in just 30 minutes. What else do we need to know here?
You're welcome, America. Right?
Way to go, Mark. Here's the thing. This is one reason why I was so willing to take Mirotic where we were drafting him earlier. And I get it. It's 2 games in, so maybe we need to stop patting ourselves on the back so much. But it sure is a lot of fun.
On the back until it goes wrong.
You should, because, Mark, like, the reason it all made so much sense to me is because it was just the numbers. Like, this is what the guy does per minute, and this is how many minutes we projected him for. And it was a reasonable amount of minutes, like 28 and a half. And now he's getting that many minutes, and he's putting up this great production. And you wonder, like, what if he actually plays more minutes than this? Because the cat is...
Yeah, that's the thing is we projected him at 27 minutes a game. So if he's going to get 30 or 32, we were too low on him. Like that's kind of crazy because we had him in our top 25.
At the end of the season, after having him drafted in like my first 42 leagues, on the final 3, I went away from him because I just felt like I had too much invested in him, and now I'm regretting that. So it's kind of sad. Pau Gasol bounced back from a weird first night of the season and put up 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block. You can step back from the ledge, my friends. Third Eye Blind, what up? And then Jimmy Butler did score over 20 points. So tonight we lost that bet.
Well, I mean, he shot 80%.
You know what? I'm with you. I'm with you 1,000%, Mark. Jimmy Butler is going to average not 20 points this year.
Yeah.
Joakim Noah, the situation there last night with him getting less minutes than Taj Gibson. Noah had actually went Tuesday's game with a knee a bruise in his knee or on his knee.
Okay.
There's a little knot there today. He was questionable coming into the game. He was able to play on Wednesday night, ended up playing the same amount of minutes as Taj Gibson, both 18 off the bench there. Aaron Brooks, we saw in the past season or two, whether it was DJ Augustin 2 years ago or Aaron Brooks last year, a point guard come off the bench from this Chicago Bulls rotation and put up some pretty consistent production. However, Kirk Heinrich is getting less minutes this year, and we're actually seeing E'Twaun Moore get quite a few minutes. And during the preseason, when Derrick Rose was sitting out with his facial fracture, E'Twaun Moore was getting a lot of minutes with Rose out. So I just want to keep E'Twaun Moore's name in people's periphery for those deeper leagues in case you're looking for someone who's going to maybe get about 15 minutes per game off the bench.
Are you saying there's a chance Derrick Rose doesn't play every game this season, and we need to be aware of who his backup is?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think E'Twaun Moore might be in line for more minutes than Aaron Brooks is really the main point there.
I mean, that's the stuff you want to know for daily games. Like, who are of the injury-prone players, who's in line for big minutes when they sit out? And Derrick Rose definitely qualifies in that category.
Looking over at the Brooklyn side of this game, we saw Jarrett Jack sit out with a hamstring issue, so Shane Larkin started, was 3 of 8 from the field, had 8 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Whoa, weird. 6 points, no rebounds in 23 minutes. Wayne Ellington started at shooting guard but played just 12 minutes, while Bojan Bogdanovic came off the bench to play 29, and then Andrea frickin' Bargnani played 22 minutes off the bench and had a good game. 17 points, 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. Probably the most relevant line to me, or the most intriguing line out of this whole game, though, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 24 minutes off the bench, 2 steals, 1 block, 5 rebounds, 8 points, 4 of 6 from the field. Only in that, if they decide to blow up this Brooklyn Nets team, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson will get minutes at some point this year as a result if they do that. And it looks like he's a guy that we would look to for defensive stats. So it's nice to see him having a pretty nice debut there.
Yep.
Sorry, that was a mouthful. There's really nothing else to say about this Brooklyn Nets team, is there?
We don't need to spend any time on them. There was a lot of fun things that happened tonight.
What about Thaddeus Young only playing 24 minutes, though?
That's kind of surprising. I didn't watch the game, so I'm not sure what happened. He had 4 fouls, it looks like, so I'm not sure if he was in foul trouble or if it was a weird rotation or they couldn't match up with Mirotic, or I just don't know. It's certainly something to keep an eye on. If he's not going to play 30 minutes a game, that changes things for him.
All right, moving on to the Utah versus Detroit Pistons game. The Detroit Pistons are 2-0 on the season.
Kyle, your 82-0 bet is looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, I think I might pull it out. Yep. So what did you see from the Utah Jazz side of things here?
So it was interesting. We saw Raul Neto start, and I think maybe the reason that he only got 26 minutes is because he actually left the game with a bruised knee midway through the game, and I think he went to the locker room for a little bit. So he did return. I think it will be okay. But, man, Trey Burke struggled. And I think that's Raul Neto's job. Trey Burke only played 16 minutes. He was 0 of 2 from the field. He had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 0 points. He was a negative 15 plus minus, which we know that's a skewed stat, but still,
that's our drop of the night.
Yeah, I think if you took a flyer on Trey Burke, and I don't blame you for doing it, but if it's in a 10 and 12 team league, I think you need to run out and grab anybody else you can find. The Jazz actually finished up with the lineup that you and I think they should play, which is Alec Burks, Rodney Hood, and Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, and they were using Gordon Hayward or Alec Burks as the initiators on offense there. Rodney Hood started at shooting guard, played 29 minutes, took 15 shots, making 6 of them. Didn't hit any of his 3-point attempts, but took 7 attempts from beyond the arc.
But aren't you kind of like buoyed by that? He took 7 3-pointers. We know that he can hit 35 to 40% of those. Oh,
absolutely. He finished with 12 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, no defensive stats, but nice game there out of Hood. And he got into foul trouble too. So it's possible he would have been slated to play more minutes.
I think Burks, now that we know where Trey Burke is, I think Burks, Hood, and Gordon Hayward are all ownable. Doesn't mean you definitely need to pick them up, but somebody in your league should pick up Hood and Burks.
12 team, I think Hood and Burks need to be on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
somebody in your league needs to pick them up in 10 and 12 team leagues. If you have such a stacked team that you can't pick them up, I understand that happens, but somebody in your league should be picking them up.
What do you think about the Hood assist? I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I think, Neto is probably going to get a few more assists than he did tonight, because when he was in the game, it felt like he was the primary ball handler. But I think there'll be plenty of times when Alec Burks is in there with Hood. And I think at that point, it's kind of a positionless basketball. So I don't think Hood will always get 6 assists. He might settle in around 4 a game, but that's still darn good for a shooting guard.
All right, moving over to the Pistons game, we saw them start the same lineup that they started on Tuesday. Everybody in the starting lineup got over 31 minutes except for Ersan Ilyasova. It's possible he was in foul trouble. That may have limited him. He ended up finishing with 8.
It's possible that they were playing. I mean, what it looked like to me is that Gobert and Favors, they just couldn't have Ilyasova match up with him.
And I think you're going to see that happen quite a bit. Yeah. So Stanley Johnson got 20 minutes off the bench after playing just 24 minutes in Tuesday's game. He ended up finishing with 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1 3-pointer. All right, do we need to have like a stern discussion about my love of Stanley Johnson and tempering expectations, or is it something we should be patient with?
So you and I have differed on this. I have said that Stanley Johnson is not somebody I would want to own in a 10 or 12 team league. I will tell you, I've watched the last 2 games. I think he's ready to play in the NBA. I just don't know that he's a fantasy relevant player, and nothing that has happened so far has changed my mind. But if you want to hold on to him, like it's funny because really when you see him, like he was a big part of the reason that they won that game. I think he had a very strong fourth quarter. But when I come and look at the box score, I just don't see it translating to fantasy goodness.
Don't you think 11 points and 5 rebounds in 20 minutes is pretty impressive, though?
Yeah, and I guess that's part of the reason I'm saying you watch him and you see good things, but at the same time, if he's not going to play big minutes, or if he's not going to do Isaiah Thomas level things in small minutes, I just don't know that there's too many other guys I would want. But if you're telling me you want to hold Stanley Johnson because you think it's going to improve, I guess I'm at the point where I can't say.
I guess this is
I
more.
don't see it happening.
Okay, and I guess this is more a conversation about. So, if there is a guy that can you think of a guy that you're high on who you would sit on for a couple weeks, like maybe a Kristaps Porzingis or something on your team, who you're just like, that's a guy I'm gonna sit through if he has to play limited minutes a little bit.
Yeah, Porzingis is probably my guy, or maybe Hazonia.
So how long would you sit on Porzingis if
For me, it's a minutes thing. I know that like it sounds like I'm really harping on minutes, and I am, because I think if
it's the most important stat in fantasy. Yeah.
You can weather a couple of bad weeks of production if they're getting 27 to 30 minutes. I think once you start to see them drop to the 20-minute range or the 18 to 22-minute range even, unless they're like a super special player, nobody's going to be useful in that 20-minute range. And so I think that's the point. Like if they play 3-4, if they open up, like say the Knicks play their first 4 games and Porzingis doesn't exceed 20 minutes in any of those, I'm cutting bait.
Jody Meeks left the game, the Pistons game, after playing just 6 minutes. He had a sore left foot, I believe. He was going to get x-rays on it. Do not know the extent of that injury yet, but he did not return to the game. Reggie Bullock ended up getting some run as a result of Jody Meeks not being available, and Bullock ended up playing 6 minutes. Steve Blake had 7 assists in just 17 minutes. He's probably only going to play about 16 to 17 minutes every night. He's not one of those guys who's going to put up such gaudy per minute assist numbers that you need to add him in some of your deeper leagues, is he?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he was never that assist guy when he was playing big minutes.
All right. No, I mean, that's good enough answer right there. All right, moving on to the Charlotte Hornets versus Miami Heat game. This turned into I believe it was pretty much a blowout after a certain point, because they ended up running a deep rotation on the Miami side. Nobody played more than 32 minutes. Gerald Green got 30 minutes off the bench. Justice Winslow got 26 minutes off the bench. Josh McRoberts played just 13 minutes off the bench. What do we need to look at here from this Miami versus Charlotte game?
So the surprising thing to me was Winslow was actually the minutes leader at halftime in this game. He had 16 minutes in the first half. So, which was I was not expecting. I didn't expect him to get 26 minutes. And I guess what I'm saying is that 26 minutes didn't come as a result of the blowout. He actually played less in the second half than he did in the first half. So just something to keep an eye on. I think, he's sort of similar to Stanley Johnson for me. And if either of them get big enough minutes, it becomes more interesting. He was a plus 26 for this game, by the way. So he really, it's possible if he keeps playing this well that Spoelstra gives him more minutes. The thing I'm worried about is Hassan. But yeah, I mean, as far as pickups or anything, I'm not doing anything yet.
Winslow, I don't think Winslow's offensive game is polished enough right now that he'll have consistent value for standard leagues at all anytime soon, unless he started getting 30 minutes a night. You're mostly out of Winslow. I think you're going to get defensive stats, good rebounds from his position, and then good assists from him as well.
What do you think about Whiteside? That's the one that concerns me.
I don't want to make too big of an assumption off of one game, but 20 minutes, you're just worried from the perspective that, Charlotte only played, oh man, if Miami's really playing the matchup game, and because Charlotte only played Al Jefferson 22 minutes. If Miami was just playing the matchup game with Hassan Whiteside and they end up doing that all season where he only plays against the biggest centers, that could be really devastating to his fantasy value.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't want to overreact, but that is really concerning. Our buddy Daniel Green said that he got benched pretty quick because he couldn't handle what Al Jefferson was doing to him.
Well, then why the hell couldn't Al Jefferson do more?
Why didn't he play more than 22 minutes? I can't say that I watched a lot of this game either. I was more intrigued by some games, but I did check in a few times, and I'm not sure why. Jefferson looked good when he was out there, so I'm not sure why he didn't play the rest of the time.
Nick Batum struggled with his shot. Let's not overreact to that yet. Hopefully, it's not a doom and gloom repeat of last season with wrist injuries all the time and whatnot.
PJ Hairston played 18 minutes
as the starting shooting guard, or I'm sorry, small forward in some people's eyes. He played 18 minutes, 105 from the field, 104 from 3-point, 2 assists, no rebounds, no steals, no blocks. It's PJ Hairston, everybody. He sucks.
Jeremy Lin is the de facto starter. He played 27 minutes and had 17 points, 2
off the
assists
bench.
and a rebound. Yeah, but if he's going to play 27 minutes and Hairston's going to play 18, I don't care who starts the game.
Oh yeah, I mean Jeremy Lin probably should have been owned in all 12-team leagues for his potential. Mm-hmm. Cody Zeller played 30 minutes off the bench, 7 points, 12 rebounds, 1 steal. We've seen similar stuff like that before. Zeller simply, I don't think is aggressive enough on offense to trust that he's going to be a consistent fantasy player, even if he's getting 30 minutes a night, which is super frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't think it's weird. Well, we're gonna have to look into what happened to Jefferson because he was playing pretty well, and it looks like Zeller. I don't think that the split is going to be Zeller 30, Al Jefferson 22 minutes very often.
Right. No, I agree. I'll look into the Al Jefferson thing. Kaminsky's the 5th big man, so if you drafted Kaminsky, just get off that horse. He only played 6 minutes off the bench.
Spencer Haas is playing ahead of him. That's all we need to say.
Yep, Jeremy Lamb was sitting out with a sprained ankle, so he didn't even get an opportunity to try and carve out any minutes on the wing there. So not much to sit and say about him. All right, moving on to the next game. We got Indiana at Toronto, and Paul George put up a unique line, 17 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals. So he struggled with his shot, just 4 of 17, but he did some work at the line, 9 of 10, 0 of 4 from 3-point. CJ Miles probably had the best night from this team, 36 minutes as the starting small forward, with 6 of 14 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3-point line, 18 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 steals. What stood out to you here?
I mean, just Paul George, right? Like we've been telling people all offseason we're not worried about his injury, but he looked great tonight. I know he missed a lot of shots, but just seeing him get to the line as much as he did, he single-handedly nearly helped him win this game. And there was a play right at the end where he made an awesome drive and scored and got fouled. I think he looks great. And if he's going to be able to rebound like this and handle the ball like this, where we were saying he's a first round value you can get in the second round. He sure looked like that tonight to me.
Heck yeah, man. Almost a triple-double. Jan Mahinmi started at center, played 25 minutes, put up 10 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. What do you think about Mahinmi? Is it worth taking a flyer on him if he's only playing 25 minutes a night?
Yeah, no. What's weird to me is, if you're going to play Jan Mahinmi, why not just keep Roy Hibbert? Like, Roy Hibbert is a better version of Jan Mahinmi.
I think Jan Mahinmi's an athletic guy. He's kind of Serge Ibaka-ish without a jump shot. And he's not going to block as many shots. But Hibbert was just slow and dumpy. At least Jan Mahinmi can get out and run the floor with these guys,
Yeah, I don't think of him that way, but that's interesting. I'm going to have to watch now because I always kind of thought of Jan Mahinmi as a Roy Hibbert clone, but if you're telling me he's faster, that does make more sense.
Yeah, he's athletic. He's just dumpy as far as the way, like when he's working around the hoop, it's the only way he scores is if it's a dunk or a layup.
What do we tell everybody who drafted Miles Turner? Because he got a DNP CD.
No, he was dealing with like his sprained ankle that he had the other day, so he was questionable coming into the game, and they ended up having him sit out. So
okay.
He was available to play minutes, but they decided to err on the side of caution with him. Rodney Stuckey, 5 of 13 off the bench, 24 minutes, put up 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Joseph Young, the rookie, who they said was going to be the backup point guard, apparently was not really. He only played 2 minutes. So looks like Stuckey's getting the minutes again. Gosh darn it. Anyways, so Stuckey, though, I don't think he was drafted in a lot of leagues. Do you look at him as like a poor man's Isaiah Thomas?
No, I don't think so. We have too long of a track record of seeing Stuckey do Rodney Stuckey things to want to pick him up in standard leagues.
On the Toronto side of things, Luis Scola started at power forward for the Raptors, played just 17 minutes, and you're not really surprised there. You start Luis Scola against Paul George. What the hell do you think is going to happen? Yeah. Dwayne Casey.
It's interesting, though, the guy who was the de facto starter. So what they did is they had Jonas Valanciunas actually play 32 minutes, which was great, and he did awesome. He had 21 points and 15 rebounds. Then they moved DeMar Carroll up to power forward, DeMar DeRozan up to small forward, and they brought in Corey Joseph to be a shooting guard. And he didn't get a lot of fantasy stats, but it'll be interesting to see if that's how they actually plan on playing it.
Anthony Bennett did not play. Patrick Patterson got 19 minutes off the bench. Bismack Biyombo got 16 minutes off the bench. Ooh, you're dropping Patrick Patterson if you still had him in any leagues. You're not going to get enough minutes out of Luis Scola.
I'm going to hold on one more game if I drafted Patrick Patterson, and I'm presuming that's a 12 or 14 team league, just because I want to see if they ran DeMar Carroll almost exclusively at power forward because of Paul George. Does that make sense? Like if they play a not power forward, does Patterson get 26 to 28 minutes a game?
I think even if he gets that much run, I don't know if Patrick Patterson's going to be putting up enough stats to be relevant in fantasy.
No, I get what you're saying. All I'm saying is if you drafted him, I'm presuming it's a deep enough league that I'm not reacting to this game. But you're right. He not a standard league.
And DeMar Carroll played 41 minutes, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Him 1 3-pointer. Him playing at power forward, DeMar Carroll. That's not out of the completely out of left field. They said when they signed him, Dwayne Casey came out and said that they planned on using DeMar Carroll at power forward. They were actually, who the heck were they going after? They were going after somebody else for small forward, and they said during the free agency period, and they were like, well, if we sign this guy, we'll just shift DeMar Carroll up to power forward, so whatever. So I don't remember who that was, but anyways. All right, moving on to the next game in our queue. We got the Denver Nuggets at the Houston Rockets, and Denver came out of this with a win, 105 to 85.
Yeah, they blew them out, which was really surprising.
Our boy Gary Harris started at shooting guard after some midday fear. snuck in. There was a report on Twitter that Randy Foye might start the game. Luckily, the basketball gods heard our prayers. Gary Harris started at shooting guard, 29 minutes, 5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals with 1 block and 1 3-pointer. Just took 5 shots, but hit 2 of them and hit that 1 3-pointer. So pretty nice night out of Gary Harris.
Yeah, I think some people would look at that and be like, "Oh, 5 points, who cares?" But you hit the nail on the head. He did everything else. I don't think he's going to be a huge scorer, but I do think that he can get enough rebounds, steals, and he's intriguing. The most exciting part of the night, kind of from Denver, was to see Moutier play, and he had sort of a great game. I mean, he had 17 points, 9 assists. He had 3 3-pointers. He also had 11 turnovers, but he played 38 minutes. All in all, he played better than I expected him to play. I don't think that you're going to be able to pick him up anywhere, but if you drafted him kind of on your advice, Kyle, I think you're going to be pretty happy with what you got.
Yeah, take your T-shirt off and wave it around your head like a helicopter.
Unless you're in a roto league that counts the turnovers, then you're going to be a little bit sad tonight.
Yeah, that sucks because I think I did take Emmanuel Moutier in a 9-cat turnover league. No, wait a minute. I take that back. It's 8-cat, so hooray.
Yeah, the thing is, he's a rookie point guard playing 38 minutes. He's going to have some turnovers in his very first game.
He dropped 9 dimes.
Yeah. That's not a great assist to turnover ratio, but I think he'll be able to clean up the turnovers eventually.
A negative assist to turnover ratio. Yeah, that's
hard to do with 9 assists.
Gallinari played 36 minutes, put up 23 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. Hootie to Josh Lloyd over at Red Rock and Basketball Monster. He was on the Gallinari train this year. Joffrey Laverne started at center. He was 4 of 5 from the field, put up 11 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block in just 22 minutes. Anything to comment there?
I just don't know. I don't know what to think. That's not enough minutes. He is a starter, though. The line's kind of I just don't know. I guess I need more information before I decide what to do with him.
Yep.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, only 22 minutes, but you like the fact that he scored, that he had a block, that he had a 3-pointer, and he did decent on the rebounds. I mean, considering the amount of minutes played. So keep an eye on it. He played well in the preseason, and he fits the modern NBA mold of a mobile big. He's actually he's a more handsome Jan Mahinmi in some respects, and apparently he can shoot the 3-point shot as well.
Kyle, the best stat line I can see up there is J.J. Hickson's.
You're right. That is, yeah. J.J. Hickson had the best stat line of his career on Wednesday night. He was a DNP coach's decision, so may not be the best stat line of his career for him, but it is for the rest of us because he didn't actually step onto the court. And he was, it looks like, the only Nuggets player that did not step on the court.
Hopefully that's a good sign of things to come.
I think so. Nikola Jokic, who was getting some pub in the preseason, played just 4 minutes off the bench as one of the backups at center. Kenneth Faried, 8 of 10 from the field, 2 of 6 from the free throw line, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks in 31 minutes. We weren't really big on Faried because I think we were scared off of him because we were reasonable about him last year, or we thought that he would have a pretty good year last year. So what's your reaction to this?
I mean, that seems like a normal Kenneth Faried night. If you say, just look at his stat line and say, okay, he's not actually going to shoot 80%. He probably shoots 50 to 60%. So give him 5 baskets instead of 8. That knocks him, poor free throw percentage. So he got 12. So say he got 12 points, 9 rebounds still, and he's not going to get 3 blocks. So, 31 minutes, that's about what you expect from Kenneth Faried. 12 points, 9 rebounds, a steal, and maybe a block.
Looking good for people who drafted Kenneth Faried. Looking good. So you hope that he gets even more shot attempts than just the 10. Looking over at the Houston Rockets side of things, Dwight Howard was out of this game. He was sitting out due to suspension, so hopefully he's going to be ready to play in the Rockets' next game. Clint Capella started at center with Howard sitting out, played 25 minutes, put up 9 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals. You're a Capella guy, aren't you, Mark?
Yeah, I like him a lot, and I think that that's a pretty reasonable line of what he could give you, sort of like a Rudy Gobert light, in that he's not going to get a ton of points, but he's going to get rebounds and blocks and maybe even some steals if he plays. Problem is Dwight Howard is ahead of him in the rotation, so it's sort of just a DraftKings or FanDuel type of a play when Dwight Howard sits out.
Terrence Jones started at power forward, had 15 points, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 0 of 2 from the three-point line, 6 of 13 overall, 29 minutes. It looks like Terrence Jones is going to be Terrence Jones again this season, which for me, that means that he's going to be erratic. Overall, he'll put up pretty good numbers, but he's going to be erratic, and that scares me.
Yeah, and the whole team, I mean, the Rockets shot 34% in this game, which is probably why they got blown out so bad. James Harden had a poor night shooting. Trevor Ariza had a poor night shooting. Corey Brewer had a poor night shooting, but I'm not really worried about any of them. Like, I think they're going to continue to have the same fantasy value expected of them before the season started. The interesting thing was Lawson played a lot of minutes compared to Beverly. Lawson played 37 minutes compared to Beverly's 21.
Team high 37 minutes as well.
So
12 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists for Lawson, 2 3-pointers, which we're happy to see. Just 3 of 10 from the field, but everybody shot terrible. And maybe this is the Mike Malone influence on Denver. Maybe they're already playing better defense. So that's what he's known for.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So that's, if you drafted Ty Lawson, you should be pretty ecstatic, because this is the bottom of what he should probably be offering you in 37 minutes a night. So if he's going to play that much, it's dope. Cleveland versus Memphis.
This game was over like six minutes into the game.
Oh,
I don't even know what happened.
Cleveland 106, Grizzlies 76. Well, it's probably the fact that they started Jeff Green's bum ass at small forward.
He did get benched. He got benched midway through the second quarter, and then he didn't start the second half.
Like, what are you thinking if you're Dave Yeager? Oh, let's start Jeff Green to guard LeBron James instead of Tony Allen. Yeah, what are you thinking?
You're not. I mean, he punished him halfway through the game, so I guess he figured it out, but it was clearly too late.
Not a lot else to take from the especially from the Memphis side of things. Like we said, Jeff Green started, but he sucked like usual. On the Cleveland side of things, J.R. Smith played 34 minutes as opposed to the 30 that he played the night before. But Mo Williams played just 23 minutes after playing, I think, 37 the night before. Is that?
I just don't think we can read anything into this, Kyle. Honestly, this game was over like halfway through the first quarter.
I love that you're so prescient of that. Like, this was just a blowout, Kyle. Relax, mug. All right, New York versus Milwaukee, 122-97. Damn, do we just have to start worrying about these Bucks? All right, what do you think from the New York side of things? Crip Craps?
Yeah, I mean, again, kind of a blowout, so you want to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt, but a surprising blowout in the fact that New York blew somebody out. I mean, the obvious surprise line here is Derek Williams. And I guess on one hand, it is surprising because we have seen Derek Williams do nothing for so long in his career. But on the other hand, he did have a very strong preseason. So I don't know, Kyle.
But it's a blowout.
What's it going to take? Blowout. Yeah, and he had a nice first half too. Like, what would it take for you to want to pick up Derek Williams in a standard league? Is this enough, or do you need to see more games?
No. To me, he's Bargnani. Like,
that's a great comparison, actually.
I'm amazed that he got 7 of 9 from the free throw line, but this was a blowout. Kyle O'Quinn, he had a hell of a game too in 23 minutes off the bench. I mean, Lance Thomas scored 13 minutes and 20 points off the bench. Everybody shot over like pretty much 50% or better from the bench. Like, there was. No, we cannot give Derek Williams credit yet, despite the fact that he scored 24 points and was good in daily games.
To talk about Porzingis, because we brought him up with Stanley Johnson, he only played 24 minutes. maybe is a little concerning. You could also maybe argue that he played less because it's like nobody on the Knicks played a lot of minutes. Carmelo Anthony led the team with 29 minutes, and we fully expect him to be in the 35-minute range. So I'm not concerned yet. What's exciting is he got to the line 12 times as a rookie in his first game. I think that's pretty impressive. He got a steal and a block and a 3-pointer. He had 16 points. He shot poorly from the field, but he still figured out how to get 16 points. Nothing I saw tonight makes me want to drop Porzingis. In fact, I'm
ecstatic, man.
Yeah.
If I was questioning whether or not to put him into my 12-team lineups on a given day, if you got with 14 games tonight, you had options sitting on your bench that you could rotate in over other players. And I wasn't putting Porzingis in because I didn't know what to expect from him tonight. So especially minutes wise, but this is really, really interesting. So that's a lot of fun. On the Milwaukee side of things, we saw Greg Monroe play 35 minutes, 22 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 8 of 10 from the line, 7 of 17 from the field. You love the 35 minutes.
Yeah. And everything. You love everything.
Yep. Great line from Greg Monroe.
From the free throw line, you love the assists, you love the steals, the blocks.
And that's like third round value right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of shapes as they get Giannis and Parker back.
Right. And if you took his one game here, that's probably actually closer to first round value, but
right.
What we project for him to do is essentially it just feels like, okay, if he's getting 35 minutes, we had projected him for 30 and he was showing up pretty nice in our rankings in the top 50 or thereabouts. So if he's going to play more and get more chances to score and get more rebounds, it's pretty exciting. Anything else from this Milwaukee side of things? Giannis Antetokounmpo was not playing due to a 1-game suspension.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because like you said, Monroe playing extra 5 or 6 minutes than we expected is interesting. Middleton also played 35 minutes. Michael Carter-Williams played 34 minutes. What I want to see is that because they had players sitting out, or is that because Jason Kidd has changed his philosophy or his plan as far as how deep of a rotation he's going to run?
Right. Our first year watching Frank Vogel coach the Indiana Pacers, he did this super long rotation, and then he kind of figured out who he wanted to play in the second year, and he just kind of whittled it down. And then you started seeing guys like Paul George play really big minutes. I wonder if maybe something similar to that will happen with the Bucks, because last year maybe that's what Jason Kidd was doing, just seeing everybody, testing them out, trying to understand who he wanted on his squad going forward.
Yeah, it very well could be. And if that's the case, then a lot of Bucks are going to have more value than we thought they were going to have. Straight
dope. All right, moving on to the San Antonio Spurs versus Oklahoma City game. Kawhi Leonard, man. This cat he played 35 minutes, put up 32 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He was just 7,400 on DraftKings tonight. Great value for him there.
I'll bet the person who had the most DraftKings points had Kawhi Leonard on their team then.
Probably. He definitely should have gotten into more of my lineups. LaMarcus Aldridge played 32 minutes, had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. If you drafted LaMarcus in the first 2 rounds, I am super sorry. But what I would be trying to do right now is still to trade him, because somebody out there might think, oh, it's just one bad game.
Yeah, go beg the Mirotic owner to trade you for him.
And don't feel bad about that. And that's not a joke. Seriously, go try to trade LaMarcus for Mirotic and see if somebody does it.
Yeah, if you drafted LaMarcus Aldridge in the second round, that's your best chance to save your season, in my opinion.
Tim Duncan, 26 minutes. Tony Parker, 26 minutes. Danny Green, 29. Hey, it's the Spurs. Except for Kawhi Leonard, you're excited about the 35. But does Kawhi play more minutes in those games against those big other players like Kevin Durant? I would think that's very possible.
Probably.
All right, on the Oklahoma City Thunder side of things, Steven Adams started at center, played 30 minutes, put up 6 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. We saw Enes Kanter come off the bench in 24 minutes, put up 15 points, 16 rebounds. Is it possible? Because now we've seen this for over half of the season. Is it possible Enes Kanter can actually put up close to a double-double or about 15 points and 7 rebounds off the bench every game? It seems like he's going to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah, I think so. And he's going to shoot a good field goal percentage, and he's going to shoot a good free throw percentage, and he's probably not going to give you anything else. He's not going to give you any assists. Like, there was stretches where he would play like 20 games last season and get 1 assist. So there's not going to be anything there. There's not going to be a lot for steals and blocks, but like if you're just looking for points, rebounds, and good percentages, I think he's still a great candidate for that.
Kevin Durant played 35 minutes with 6 of 19 from the field. You're not really worried about him shooting badly or poorly or subpar against Kawhi Leonard. You expect that. 8 of 8 from the free throw line. In fact, Kawhi Leonard sized Kevin Durant up on one possession and just like baby blocked him. It was beautiful. Durant did not get any assists, steals, or blocks. Again, I think that's probably a Kawhi Leonard effect more than anything. Yeah. So don't look at that and try to extrapolate and be like, Durant's not going to do it all anymore. He's the same player, so don't worry about it. Westbrook, 33 points, 10 assists, 2 steals, 3 3-pointers in 37 minutes. It looks like, and the reason we're talking so exhaustively about the minutes and everything with this Thunder team right now is because it's a new coach. Billy Donovan's there. We do want to kind of examine what he's going to do with the rotation. Strangely enough, it's damn similar to what Scott Brooks was doing.
That's a good point.
No really Mitch McGary, no Kyle Singler, no Steve Novak in the rotation. Dion Waiters, 21 minutes off the bench. All right, nothing much more to talk about. And Cameron Payne, the rookie backup point guard, he was inactive. So he did not even play. DJ Augustine got 13 minutes off the bench. All right, we got 4 more games still going. We're just going to go in there, peek at them, see if there's anything to discern there.
Can I tell you something that's going to make you really, really excited?
Please, God, yes.
I think CJ McCollum outscored the Pelicans by himself in the first quarter.
28 points at halftime?
Yeah, I think he might have had 22 or something in the first quarter.
Oh my
Kyle
God.
just fainted. That's why you can't hear him anymore.
No, I just want to. I want to find a way to get to Idaho to rub this in your face some way. I'm just saying, you were a little. I was pretty bullish on him. Granted, this is one game.
No, yeah. I mean, he definitely can shoot, and you can't argue with the results tonight.
CJ McCollum, 10 of 15 from the field in the first half, 18 minutes, team leading 18 minutes, 5 of 6 from 3-point, 3 of 3 from the line, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 rebounds, 28 freaking points. Hell yeah, man.
If he's going to be this aggressive and score at this rate, I was totally wrong about him. It'll be interesting to see how he, how the next 4 or 5 games look, but man, he's looking great tonight.
Glad I used him in my daily games.
Ooh. Did you really?
Yeah, at least in one of my lineups.
Nice.
On the New Orleans Pelicans side of things, Dante Cunningham got checked out for a concussion. He actually bumped heads with Andrew Bogut on Tuesday night. Bogut has a concussion. He's out indefinitely right now until he's cleared to come back. Dante Cunningham was checked for a concussion earlier on Wednesday, was ruled okay to play. He's played just 7 minutes so far in this game. Anthony Davis is still struggling with his shot. And what I'm thinking might be happening here is with a different offense, with a Elvin Gentry style offense, with Kendrick Perkins in there, it might actually be disrupting. Like, it might be forcing Anthony Davis out of the paint, because who on the Golden State Warriors from last year, especially their power forward, Draymond Green, it's not like he worked in the paint that much,
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me wonder if the offense is kind of pushing Anthony Davis out more than he needs to.
If they're going to do that, then they need to play Davis at center, because he needs to be able to be around the basket. I tend to think any ills that come because of a new offense or a new team is not going to last. Like, he's just too good to struggle.
Buy low on Anthony Davis.
Oh yeah.
If anybody's that dumb. Ryan Anderson, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal at halftime, 3 of 5 from 3-point land in 18 minutes. Looks like Ryan Anderson's having a good game after having just a game on Tuesday night. All right, moving back to that Dallas-Phoenix game really quick. Wanted to see if there's anything there worth talking about. Dwight Powell, 12 minutes off the bench so far, so that's kind of interesting. Raymond Felton starting at shooting guard with Wesley Matthews at small forward. It's halftime, and Wesley Matthews already has 16 minutes.
Yeah, and John Jenkins has 0 minutes. So if Rick Carla is not going to play him, I'm going to have to apologize for that too, because he's not going to do anything for you if he doesn't play any minutes.
And there was a report this evening that Chandler Parsons is going to try and return for Sunday's game. It's just some interesting stuff going on here. Dirk Nowitzki played just 11 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, that's about right.
We were not recommending that guy. I just want to put that out there.
No, 26 minutes is kind of his target, and that looks like what they're going for tonight.
Markieff Morris looks like he got into foul trouble in the first half, played just 7 minutes. PJ Tucker started at small forward, but it looks like TJ Warren got more minutes in the first half, 12 minutes compared to PJ Tucker's just 5. Yep. Okay. Not much. Devin Booker, only 3 minutes so far. Yeah. So
we don't want to read too much into any of this because, again, they're just halftime.
Right. I, for the most part, I'm just trying to see like who's actually getting some early minutes from these halftime games so that we can maybe remember to take a look at it once the games finish up, or maybe people can check the box scores themselves if they're listening to this in the morning. Moving on to that Los Angeles Clippers Sacramento Kings game, Rajon Rondo and Ben McLemore started in the backcourt. Rudy Gay was able to make it to the game after the birth of his child. Kosta Koufos started at center because the Kings didn't want to start Willie Cauley-Stein against Blake Griffin.
It's going really good for Koufos so far. Blake Griffin has 20 points on 10 of 12 shooting at halftime.
You got to think they got Cousins guarding Griffin, right? With Koufos guarding DeAndre.
I don't think they have anybody guarding Griffin. He's 10 of 12 from the field.
Fair enough. You got Rajon Rondo at 14 minutes so far and Darren Collison at 13. I think Collison's going to be the one to own out of those two. Lance Stevenson started at small forward for the Clippers. He played 12 minutes so far in the first half. There's still 6 minutes left, and we'll see. We'll see. You're gonna want to check in on Lance Stevenson after the game ends to see where that all ends. You're right. Damn, 10 of 12. Blake Griffin, you go, boy. Moving on to the final game of the night, Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Lakers. There's still 6 minutes left in the second quarter here, 32-45. The Lakers are putting their foot down on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jordan Clarkson is the primary ball handler for the Lakers in this game. They're using D'Angelo Russell more as a shooting guard. That was the edict from Byron Scott. Let's draft a point guard, and then in his first game, let's take the ball out of his hands. Like, nothing that Byron Scott says makes sense half the time, unless he's like living like, I don't know, bro. Whatever.
I think he's trying to tank.
Already. All right, from this Minnesota side of things, Karl Anthony Towns, 10 minutes, leading all starters. Kevin Martin leading the team in minutes with 12 off the bench. So don't really know what to take from that.
Yeah. No, I have nothing for you there.
Yeah, we really shouldn't be talking too much about halftime.
It's weird that they've already played. It's not even halftime, and they've already played. We're halfway through the second quarter, and they have 11 guys that have gotten playing time, or 12.
Why are they playing Dam Jan Rudez and Adrian Payne?
And Shabazz, and Georgie Dang, and Zach LaVine, and Kevin Martin.
Well, a lot of those guys make sense to me. Shabazz has been scoring like a beast. Obviously, he always does when he gets the minutes.
No, my only point is you can't play 12 players in the NBA.
Scott Mitchell.
Come on, man. You can't play 12 players in the first 18 minutes.
Did I just call? Is it Sam Mitchell? I called him Scott Mitchell, like he's a Detroit Lions quarterback or something.
Might as well be Scott Mitchell, quarterback. He's going to play 12 players in 18 minutes. What's the point of having a coach?
Yeah, I don't. I don't even want to look at this box score anymore because it's like pissing me off. 12 players in the first half. You're a freaking psycho. All right, that's all I've got. You got anything else, Mark?
No, that's it.
Tight money. All right, thanks for listening to the podcast today, everybody. Once again, I'm Kyle McEwen. You can find me on Twitter at RotoKyleNBA, and this is That's
Sorry,
Mark.
this is Mark Roberts, and you can find me on Twitter at Mark F. Roberts.
Thanks for powering through this, Mark. I know you got sniffles and whatnot.
And good night.
All right, dailyfantasybasketballpodcast.com. Go there if you'd like to donate to the podcast, to the site. Of course, please keep rating, reviewing, and subscribing on iTunes and all the other different apps and such with podcasts. It helps us out a whole bunch. I know we keep saying that every day, and I don't want to make it cheap or sound small, but thank you a lot for doing that, everybody. It's been huge help on everything. All right, we love you. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Yep. See you guys.